You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Let's talk a little bit about the LSU Georgia game. You said there's some matchups you like. Where might it favor LSU on Saturday?
Well, I think anytime great fights are made by styles, right? So
Yes.
I think anyone who tries to go out physical Georgia is probably going to have a tough time. Just because up front on both sides of the ball, there's a good chance they're just going to be bigger and badder than you. And when you think about what they can add with extra defensive linemen, with tight ends, with bonus bigs, be it fullback tight ends coming over from defense, I mean, they can play bully ball with just about anybody. And there aren't many teams in the country that can be better than that than they can. See the Michigan game a year ago. It didn't go well for them. So I think LSU physically can hold up, but they don't have to be that to find success against this team. Take any of these defenses off the Nick Saban tree. I mean, the way to find success is to spread them out, find matchups, and pull as many playmakers away from the ball as possible. LSU is going to be able to do that. And that's where they have found a ton of success this year. Now, they've gotten a lot better with the downhill run game here late in the season, but I think when LSU's at their best, they're spreading you out 3 and 4 wide, and Jaden Daniels has got the timing routes or the RPOs, the quick release plays going, and that's where the catch and run comes from because LSU is very talented at wide receiver. And then that's where the quarterback run comes from as well. That makes you defend an extra gap. And he's not just a guy with escapability. He is a quarterback that you can design things for. So therefore, Georgia will not be able to add extra bodies to the perimeter because they are going to have to stay closer to the line of scrimmage to be able to defend the design quarterback runs. Now, it didn't go well for Tennessee, but I think that there's a little bit more there's a different style of run threat that I think LSU can bring to the table than what Tennessee did. LSU's not going to be as reliant on tempo as Tennessee is. And then I think on the other side of the football, I think Mekhi Wingo has been one of the most underrated. I gave my top 3 most underrated players in the SEC Saturday night in our game because I think Vanderbilt has one at running back. I think Ricky Stromberg at Arkansas, the center, is one. I think Wingo's another one. With the way that he and Roy have played inside this year, they've been phenomenal. We know it's on the edge with Olajari and Gay. Like, they can hold up against that group. And then you have sort of this Swiss Army knife, this chess piece that you can move around in Harold Perkins that can be sort of a different guy. And I think he gives you enough speed to match up with some of the tight ends that you'll see. He gives you some physicality and some pass rush to be able to disrupt. So, and I have a lot of confidence in Matt House being able to design something that can be problematic for this Georgia offense. Now, the run game's gotten going here in the last couple of weeks, but this Georgia offense has great balance. So you're going to need to be good in different facets, and I think the LSU defense brings that. They tackle well from the back end. They don't really seem to be a liability in coverage a lot of the time. So you can't just take what happened Saturday night and say, oh, well, that's what we're going to get against Georgia, because number one, I think the mentality will be totally different. What you're playing for is going to be totally different. And I do think that there are some ways that LSU can counter what Georgia brings to the table and potentially make that game interesting.
When I asked you this before they played Kentucky, and we've just seen it times this year. Maybe it's just that they're bored. But when Georgia has struggled, what has been their bugaboo?
I think I watched that Kentucky film, Matt, and I didn't see a team that was bored. I saw a coaching staff that went in with a very low-risk game plan. And, they didn't overcommit to anything defensively. On offense, it was, hey, we'll give you a couple of shot plays here and there, but that's not what we're going to rely on. We're not going to be like Tennessee and throw 7 or 8 over the course of the game. That was quick throws, easy throws behind the line of scrimmage, hand it off, and get out of there with a win, steal a win on the road. I think Kirby's fine doing that, whereas a lot of coaches might be worried about style points or how it looks or how people feel about it. I think he's fine taking a very simple game plan in and just saying, hey, if this is 21-10 instead of 48-3, it doesn't really matter to us. We won on the road. We keep winning games. We're going to be fine. So I saw that as more of the plan that Georgia put in place than maybe a team that was bored or a team that's just a little bit overrated.
You had the Missouri game, didn't you? The Georgia-Missouri game?
Yep.
But Cole, that's one where, I mean, Missouri had a goal-to-go situation where if they convert, Georgia loses.
And they jumped off sides, too.
Yeah.
And that was going to be a 3-score game if they convert that. But they made a decision in the second half. They went more gap scheme. The offensive line hit the switch, and all of a sudden Missouri couldn't stop it. Now, I'll say this. That's a Missouri team that has some legit skill. They have a good run scheme that is one that can be a little bit difficult on a defense like Georgia because they're going to cut the back side of it. They're going to make you run east and west. And then that Missouri defensive line is real. And I don't say that lightly. Go put that Arkansas film on from Friday afternoon. They whipped them for 4 quarters, off the edge, inside, disrupting, pass rush, and they've done it almost every game. Now, they might not be great in all the other facets of their defense, but that defensive line can get after you. So, once again, on the road, maybe took a little bit of a plan that was a little bit too vanilla. I don't think they targeted Bowers to the third quarter of that game. So that's a problem, number one. They go out against Georgia Tech, and right away, they go after 19, I think 3 of the first 5 plays. So there was some of the plan that I didn't like against Missouri, but I know they're 6-6, but there are pieces of that Missouri team that are a damn headache, and that defensive line is one of them.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.